And this is what is going to be the first map. Will be that dulcet map and colorized loveliness that is Dawnbreaker. And speaking of loveliness, we of course have Mr.Dogbert with us to join us for this excellent final, which we are looking forward to. Mr.Dogbert.
Hello everybody, and this is a final I've been well looking forward to. I must admit, I didn't know if the Dig guys were going to make it this far. I mean, obviously it's a team that I am very much involved with, as helped pick them up, but you kind of always worry. I'm a Newcastle supporter, so I'm very used to disappointment, but more importantly, I never ever want to say, yeah, Newcastle are going to do well, because they usually get absolutely destroyed. So my best kind of endorsement is to basically say, yeah, you probably won't get that far. As I definitely do have a bit of a curse when it comes to stuff like this. But this is a map that Dignitas did very, very well on in their previous game today against Eyeballers. So, yeah, I think they're probably a bit more warmed up on this. MYM in their previous game only won by 2 tickets against UMav, and that is a crazy score to be winning on in this kind of game. I mean, I don't think I've seen a game come down that close ever.
Really? Wow.
I thought yesterday was close when we had 10 or 12. Was it 10 tickets? Yeah, now we've got something even crazier with just 2. If you told me something like that would have happened in BF, I'd be like, no, that won't happen. That's very unlikely. Statistically, you were insane. And then this happens twice in a row. 2 of the closest games you're probably going to see in Battlefield.
And, to be honest, bear in mind, guys, this is just a test cup. This is literally like the starter. This is your starter, boys and girls. This is what you're going to get later on, but hugely magnified by a much bigger level. And this is what you've got to look forward to. If it's this good now, imagine what it's going to be like when everything starts to kick off.
These teams are just getting their foot in the door right now. They have barely even started to work on strategies and strats for these maps. It's a matter of time before you start to see some very, very interesting tactics, and more importantly, how they plan to manipulate the spawning system in Battlefield 4.
Yes, indeed. Now, let's see. Not everyone. MYM still getting onto the server. Obviously, last-minute tactic talk and all that kind of funky stuff. This is going to be... To be honest, I don't even know how to describe what this is going to be, because it's going to be intense. Obviously, 2 teams at the top of their game, so to speak, and now at the top of the competition, fighting it out for dominance, and yeah, for the chance to basically say that they are the first champions of BF4, albeit in a test cup form. Now, obviously, Giggly's in with his tiger stripe or whatever it is pistol, so that's obviously his good luck charm. And we're just waiting for the remaining members of MYM to join. All of Dignitas are in and ready to go. So, we've seen these guys play this map 2 times so far, so we know how they work. And obviously the only difference is their opponent, and how their opponent can actually adapt to what Dignitas decide to do. This is going to be good fun. We're going to have a laugh, and more importantly, we hope you guys are going to enjoy every moment. And to be honest, I'd love to see a final that goes down to less than 10 tickets. How awesome would that be?
It would be the best finish I could possibly think of for what has turned out to be a very exciting and very unpredictable test cup. Epsilon obviously must have been the favourites in a lot of people's minds, but they ended up going out to a very close-fought game with UMav, who then end up going out in an even closer game with MYM. So on that side of the bracket, things were very much in flux. Over on Dignitas' side of the bracket with Eyeballers, it's been pretty much a... the teams you would have expected to go through have kind of gone through. But on Epsilon and MYM side of the bracket, it's been very much all over the place, with very crazy and very unpredictable results and scores.
Well, this is kind of what you want, really. This is the kind of competition that you want, that you can't predict any kind of aspect of that, because that's what makes the most entertaining moments. That's what makes the clutch moments when legends are born, etc., etc., things of that nature. So, oh, a little bit of sniping going on there from, who is that? That's Valu. in there doing a little bit of dirty sniping. So he's there in his little beachcomber's hat and he's ready to go. So yeah, this is the kind of thing that you want. This is the kind of thing that helps promote competitive Battlefield and flies the flag for a Battlefield esports going forward. And to be honest, I can't think of anything better than the situation that we are in now, with two very old school teams who have known each other for so long, so much rivalry built up over the course of time, a lot of history there, and a lot of talent, Dogbert.
It is indeed. I mean, you're talking about the teams that basically made it to the very end of BF3 as the top two teams in the scene. Both of these teams were the quickest picked up for BF4. And with that, you're pretty much going to see two teams which have been coming into BF4 with the expectation of being the best. They were just like, right, BF3 was the small scale, the sideshow. BF4 is going to be the main event. Now, we put in the practice, we put in all this time and effort, so in BF4 we are going to be the teams that set the trend, and we will be the trailblazers. And with both teams getting to the final, they have proved that completely. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this matches up. I mean, Dignitas have not really had any trouble getting to the final. I mean, taking 240 tickets of eyeballers is crazy good. I mean, that is something you don't do very easily. But for MYM, they've had a lot closer games, obviously, and like I said, their side of the bracket has proved to be a lot harder.
Yeah, definitely seems to be the case. As we've got Masu here going in for a quick... it looks like he's trying to punch Valu. So... Valu, unfortunately, doing a nice little turbo spin courtesy of a hand grenade. But yeah, this is going to be fascinating to watch. This is going to be great fun. And we just got to wait. Apparently, according to chat, I said that, they're waiting for Safe. They don't know where he went. He's not even on TeamSpeak. Apparently, he's walking the cat. So apparently,
walking the cat?
I know. Don't even ask. But no, apparently, I said that maybe they were having a last-minute tactical talk. Apparently, that's not the case. They've all gone AFK. So they're probably having a cup of coffee and a quick smoke of a cigarette before they actually get into the final to help calm those nerves, or possibly to boost those nerves, depending on what they want to do. So we are just waiting now. One thing, obviously, we saw in previous matches Ducky Chan going absolutely clutch on a multiple number of occurrences. Now, what I'm looking forward to see is Ducky Chan up against Masu. Now that will
Masu against Ducky Chan is going to be a very interesting one, but let's not also get away from... I think MYM's team-wise, they probably have a bit more spread out. I mean, Punchrule and
Jesus, look at what...
and Ducky Chan. Have they got the dance machine down?
Yeah, they've got the dance machine down.
They've got the party machine out. I was talking to the guys yesterday, trying to work out exactly what was going on here, and they told me, I don't know what this machine does, but it has lots of explosives. Lights. It's a party machine.
Yeah, it intercepts explosives, rockets, things of that nature. So this is yeah, I know. What can you say?
Welcome to competitive BF4, everybody.
Yeah.
Enjoy your stay, and the flashing lights are going to be around for a while.
Absolutely. Now is the time. All we need now to make this perfect is a disco ball, and everyone strutting their funky stuff. They have brought their own disco ball, yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of strutting going on here. This is completely ridiculous, but also very good.
Are they still waiting for all the team to get in? I believe they are.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. He's obviously, I think the cat's escaped. So. Oh dear. Aren't they special? Bless them. Oh dear. See, this is what happens in the idle time between matches. This is what happens when you give these guys too much spare time and they're waiting around for something to happen. This is the kind of ridiculousness that actually occurs. So, what can we say? There's not really much we can say beyond this. Only in BF4. Yeah, we got to send this to DICE. This is only in BF4 moment. Otherwise known as a competitive final disco. Oh God. Ah.
So much partying.
They are getting down. They are getting funky with it, aren't they? I have to say, it's getting them all in the mood. You know, getting the blood pumping, ready to go. And I think someone's being molested while he's trying to make a run for it. Well, he's not so much making a run for it as he is being touched inappropriately with a rocket-propelled grenade. So.
Oh my God, we're having this conversation, aren't we?
We are having this conversation. It's more to do with what I'm watching on the stream. So yeah, a lot of guys with too much spare time, and they want to get on with the game. They want to get on with it. Look at that, the sexy man pose almost. So there we go. We're hearing explosions now. And they're back to the disco. Oh, there we go. See, now that was interesting. They fired a rocket, and it actually deflected the rocket away from the guys. Which is very interesting. Look at that.
It's exactly what it's meant to do, man.
You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm thinking they're trying to do? They're trying to do RPG slalom. So if you set one up on one point, and one up with the other, it will slalom the rocket between one and then between the other.
Are they really putting that much effort into just something to do between games?
Oh, come off it. These are gamers. Oh, come off it. These are gamers. You know what these guys are like.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
I don't think they have either, but you know.
As long as they don't do this during the game, I mean,
yeah,
that would throw me off completely. I'll call out some like crazy thing, and then all of a sudden they'll just be like, "Yeah,
disco.
Stop dance time."
It'll be oh dear. It'll be a stop hammer time type situation, wouldn't it?
Stop hammer time.
Yeah, that's
stop.
What
I mean, I don't even know what the name of this item of equipment is even called.
I can't remember the name of it.
Name?
I don't
Anyone
know.
in chat be able to help us out here?
I'm tempted just to call it the disco machine, but you know.
It is a disco machine. Like I was actually playing public yesterday, and I was just like, so what the hell were you doing between the game? It's just like, I don't know what it is, but it is a party machine. We don't know what it does, but it makes flashy lights, so we dance around it. And I'm sorry, as I make a possible racist Finnish impersonation, but I don't really know what.
Technically Finnish are Caucasian, so it will be xenophobic but not racism. But never mind. But yeah, no, we at least want to be grammatically correct when it comes to our racism and xenophobia.
Thanks for being there for that.
Yeah,
well, I don't know what I'd have done if you hadn't.
Well, that's what I'm here for, man.
Oh.
So, unfortunately, the shining allure of the disco pants has worn off, and we're just waiting for the final member of MYM. So this is.
He's still not arrived.
No.
Has he been abducted?
I don't know if he's been abducted. Maybe he's been, abducted by loads of cats. It's difficult
I've just
to
got
say.
this image of one of the UMAV players. You know, in BF3, you could stand on top of a UMAV and fly around.
Oh yeah,
but
on the map,
yeah. They just all converged on him as they knew he was the only one outdoors, and have kind of now just grouped up and attacked him, and then flew away with the corpse. Maybe. I mean, that is a possibility. Why not?
They're up to things. They're up to things again in the main square.
They're not doing a human centipede, please. No,
no. It's kind of dry humping, but we'll see. Anyway, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. As this has got to be the longest air filler we've ever had to do, but at least
At least it's not boring.
No.
At least something's happening. I mean, we might as well have a look at how these teams made it to the final here.
Definitely.
What teams they took out to get here. You bring up the buckets. I'll start with Dig first.
Oh, before you do that, it's actually called the Man Portable Active Protection System.
Can you break that down so it doesn't
basically
become a massive mouthful?
Yes, it's an MPAPS.
Oh
so
my God.
a MAPAPS.
It's a dance machine.
It is a disco
that's
ball,
it.
yeah. So basically, detonates incoming explosive rockets and shells from both infantry and vehicles before they can hit their targets. Will not stop normal bullets or hand-thrown grenades. Can destroy multiple incoming threats in a 180-degree arc, but must recharge between uses. So there you go. That, ladies and gentlemen, we shall now forthcoming call it the Battlefield Disco Ball. And we shall now have a look at the brackety goodness to talk about how the teams actually got as far as they did. So, let's have a look at
Finding
the
myself
brackets.
all the way down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Dignitas as they got a bye, and then they went up against All Authority in their first matchup. And their first matchup kind of went in the favour of Dignitas by a significant margin. I think they managed to get over 420 tickets. So they take out against All Authority, which is obviously a very well-established BF4 team. BF4 Battlefield team, all the way back from 42, I believe, if not at least from BFV, which is where I remember them from. Then they took on Team Rock, or as I christened them by my inability to say the name correctly for some reason, Team Core. Unfortunately, they gave Dig a good game, but eventually Dignitas managed to pull ahead and take that series. Then they got another bye win as C-Play TT Sports were unable to fill the gap. Then Dignitas took on Brutal Corps, who they managed to take out with a significant ticket lead, if I remember rightly. Yeah, we're talking at least over 400 tickets here. And that also left them into the game today, the semi-final with Eyeballers.
And I think we're ready to go.
Dispatched quite quickly.
I think we're ready to go because everybody is actually in the server now. And it's actually been started. So the question is...
It's not started yet.
It's not started. Okay, well that's
all right. No. If they restart again, you can panic me and scare me, but
okay.
At this point, we're fine.
Okay, well that's good to know. Well, obviously that has been the end of the disco section of the final. I hope you enjoyed the players strutting their funky stuff and getting down on it. But let's hope they bring us...
God, you're so white. it actually hurts. Oh my God.
Shut up.
Alright, let's jump into MYM quickly here.
Yeah, let's do that.
See, if they restart, I will let you know, mate. Do not worry.
Yes, please do. Feel free. Change the subject before I insult you again.
Meet Your Makers took out Novice quite early on in the series. They then went on to take on Remake BF4, which they dispatched in short order. They then moved on to play against Polish Stars Gaming, and there's a restart. They then took out No Org, which is a game we covered ourselves. They then took out X-Squad Poland, and then they managed to go into the next game against UMAV versus Meet Your Makers, which they win with 2 tickets to progress to the very first final of the ESL Test Cup against Dignitas.
Indeed, and ladies and gentlemen, we have 15 seconds, actually now 10 seconds, well actually now 9 seconds, until this match begins. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the tabletop view to see how these teams split themselves out over the C and the A point. And let's see what happens. As I'm only seeing one team appease.
They're not starting yet. They will start the next respawn. They're just trying to troll you, man. They know that you're getting all hyped up and ready to go, and they're just like, you know what we're going to do? We're not going to do that.
Damn it. Gonna have serious words with these guys. If I could speak Finnish, I would, but I can't, so I won't.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't try.
No, I don't want to end up with my tongue in a splint. So
guys, if you're just joining us, this is the ESL Test Cup for BF4 Domination, the very first one, and it has absolutely been a pleasure to get this far, to actually have 2 teams from BF3, which were always going to be incredibly competitive, to get them here in the final through large teams like Epsilon, UMAV, Eyeballers, to name just a few. And to get a good final with quality of teams like this is just brilliant.
Yeah, it's everything we could have hoped for, really, when it comes to competitive Battlefield, and especially competitive Battlefield 4. So we hope that you enjoy the forthcoming match, and I'd be interested to see. You know what? If you'd like to talk a bit about how the starting battles are going to occur, I am going to put a straw poll in the chat for the viewers to vote on who they think will take which map. So the first map obviously is Dawnbreaker, and we shall find out who they think will win the first map and by how much.
Obviously, I've seen Dignitas now playing Dawnbreaker 2 times, and they do seem to have this map kind of locked down. Now, in the second round against Eyeballers, they did start to struggle a slight bit on the second round, but in the first round, they were all over Eyeballers. They were making them dance to their tune. So, I think Dignitas, if they get a strong start, they generally do pull away with it quite quickly and just get into the rhythm. Eyeballers were not able to really keep up. So it all comes down to if MYM can slow down the initial engagements from Dignitas, but more importantly, not feel that they have to... They need to make Dignitas react to them instead of doing what Eyeballers did, which is to pretty much let Dignitas dictate majority of the series. You're going to see a lot of pressure here on B. B is going to be where the focal point is, but Dignitas in the last series, they did put 2 people when they were playing as China to push out onto C. So if they do that, a repeat of that here, it could work, but it was a very risky thing which didn't work out in the last series. So will they make a repeat of that, or will they play safe and go for B and A as we count down for the start of our very first final? And
it turned out that apparently one of the Dignitas guys had a slight water accident, so that's a little bit why it was delayed. Currently, we're looking at 70% of the vote going to Dignitas. So, let's get underway, okay, and find out what's going on. As you can see, the pushes are already starting. As you can see, Dignitas pushing in towards the B point, and Ducky Chan is in there, shutting down people very quickly as well. You can see Saif has already been taken down for MYM, and now Henker also being shut down as he moves into that point. So let's just find out what's going on and see if we can move in and find out as Giggly, and there's Masu. Let's follow Masu, popping nades into that B point, being taken down very quickly indeed, and now you can see the points in favour of the US team, which is MYM, against Dignitas in as China. And let's see if we can follow it with the likes of Henker. Sorry.
MYM got the initial ticket bleed there. Dignitas were going to be sending 2 people to C, but they were shut down by Waffy. Dignitas now have got themselves into B, but this is where the counter-attack is going to come in. Is MYM going to split off to go to A, or are they going to commit to a full attack on B? At this point in time, it's almost equal numbers, so we will have to see. Dignitas are already sending someone off to C. They expect to lose B, so it'll be very interesting to see exactly what MYM are going to do here. They're going to go for A, or they're going to go for B. They're going for A by the looks of it, but they're probably going to end up with 2 flags here, and Dignitas are going to have a bleed against them again.
Yeah, it's definitely looking that way at the moment. Oh, Masu being taken down very quickly, and we move over to Nore, who appears to be one of the few people left in the squad, as that's not looking good. As you can see, there we go, him taking down Safe as he was moving across from the B corridor. And now let's follow Nore as he makes his way in towards one of the points. You can see him checking the corners. There we go, going in against Punchable, and then Punchable and Flax taking him down as he tried to push in. So the attempt by Masu to push in on that A point was unsuccessful. Meanwhile, Dignitas continue to probe the defences of the B capture flag.
Dignitas getting the ticket bleed for the first time in the game, and this is going to be very important as they're going to level up the series 170 to 170.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting situation. You can see MYM still probing the defences as Dignitas Henker is trying to defend against the enemy. As you can see, fire coming in from all directions. He taking a little bit far, hiding behind the cover that's available, putting down the med pack, but then getting cut down, and then Flax almost immediately being cut down as soon as he moves in towards that point. Now we're looking at Ducky Chan, the powerhouse for MYM, the mass murderer we know and love, and we've seen several times before show himself to be a battlefield player of some talent, and now we can see him moving off towards the hotel room. As you can see, runs up against Masu, wow, with only a sliver of health.
Ducky Chan and takes him down, and that gives the flag to Dignitas. Unfortunately for MYM, Waffy had DC during that game, so that leaves MYM in a 4v5 situation, but they still had the ticket bleed even though they were a man down. But that Dignitas there picked up the full domination cap, and it's slowly but surely giving them a 10-point lead in this series already.
Yeah, now obviously that's going to certainly help them, and you can now see, let's move in with Waffy, who's now recently connected. Oh, there we go, Pitch finds Nure, but Nure was waiting for him, drills him very quickly as he moves out from that point. But up above, oh, Flat's trying to take out Nure, his body falling to the ground as Nure has actually managed to get in.
Kill. That was a critical kill there for Dig, because MYM were putting a free man down onto A. Meanwhile, if Nunny had gone down there, that would have meant the ticket bleed would have run against them. And this is what I'm saying. It's these small little engagements that are slowly but surely giving Dignitas the bleed and keeping them in the game.
Henker going in, taking down multiple members of MYM at the A point, only then dying to a death nade. But now you can see MYM doing their best to try and defend. Henker's body now cooling over in the corner, and now you can see them trying their best to try and defend as Dignitas are continuing to push pretty significantly up towards them as Safe gets taken down at the B underpass, and you can see there we go, Masu being taken down by Waffy. Waffy then dying almost immediately straight after that kill, and we're looking at 132 tickets to 151. So currently Dignitas have the advantage only by about 20 or so tickets. Oh, look at that, Ducky Chan taking down multiple members, and you can see him having a little bit of fun and games, a little bit of grenade fire, going in, big explosion, rushes around the corner and goes for a quick spray and pray. So unfortunately was unsuccessful, and let's find out how things are going as we move over towards Dignitas Wallu. And things are going so far in the favour of Dignitas. However, look at that.
Oh, no, once again, a critical play there at C. It was a 2-on-2 situation against Suffer and Punchroll, and Dignitas come out on top on that, and that is critical because at the point they would not. Oh, that's another full domination cap by Dig. I thought that they didn't have enough people at A to make it. MYM with 3 people on A, and they still managed to completely struggle to even get a hold of that flag. Dignitas getting a second full domination cap on this map, and they are starting to make their presence felt as they take a 25 ticket lead in this series.
Yeah, this is exactly the kind of thing that we expected. We didn't expect it to be a serious difference in tickets. We expected it to be close down to the wire, which is exactly the kind of competition that we're looking for. And we're now following with Henker as he gets taken down over on one side, and we're following Punch Roulette as he's making his push in towards the point, and you can see him, there we go, engaging Nere, and then taking some fire, and then getting absolutely jumped on. And unfortunately Saif, there we go, Saif is the last man standing. Fortunately for them, Ducky Chan was able to spawn in, and looks like he's going for one of the points, along with some of other of his teammates who should be spawning in that area. But he's got to watch out, because there we go, there's Nure trading fire. Ducky Chan and Nure have traded, and now you can see pushing in, there's Saif as he is in the process of trying to get that point back. And there has been, look at that significant bleed, that total domination cap out there, 125 tickets to 84. This is really serious as far as MYM are concerned. They have to turn this around if they're going to stand any chance of winning this final, Dogbert.
That's true. There's been a big spawn in the rear, so that's Ducky Chan and his associate Waffle. They're going to go up against Wallu and Masu. So it's going to. This is a 5v1 situation now, with Dignitas in the minority, and they're claimed up by Ducky Chan. But right now, Dignitas, they've got the ticket bleed still. They have B and C. They have 123 to 71 tickets for MYM, and they're slowly but surely taking control of this series.
Yeah, it's looking that way as Masu gets taken down by Ducky Chan that time. A little bit of revenge onto Masu. And you can see a little bit of fire. Wallu coming out onto the glass overpass.
That's going to be the push there for MYM. They're going to throw everyone they've got into this B flag. They're holding out Punchroll on the side to try and counter Henker from getting in there. But Dignitas have decided not to defend B, but go for A. And that is the right decision, in my opinion.
Right, oh, there we go. And now also the advantage that gives them is that they can actually back rage from A to B, and possibly if they have anybody spawn over there. Now Henker took out somebody who moved in to try and take him out, and now he's obviously roaming around checking the area for any spawns that come in based on the C flag. And now you can see obviously the A flag in the possession of MYM, and it looks like they're going to try and hold on to the B flag and push back MYM from that point, Dogbert.
They are indeed, and at this point in time it gets simply down to Dignitas can just sit back and camp. They don't need to do anything crazy as long as they know where MYM are putting their momentum and throwing their players. Dignitas will be able to just pick them off as they go in the flag. Well, as I say that, once again the curse of Dogbert has returned. MYM getting to B and have captured it. And not only that, but they're also making plays to C, and you're probably going to see, unless Dignitas can capture A really quickly, a fucking domination for MYM.
Yeah, that's looking that way at the moment. However, you can see over at A, there we go, there it is.
Go, domination. A really stupid play by Dignitas, in my opinion. They really messed up there. They could have captured A. Instead, they let 4 people all walk together to B instead of capturing A. And that gives MYM the chance to get a decent ticket bleed in their favour now.
Yeah, now obviously you can see 36 tickets to 95 is how it looks at the moment. Masu turning, killing Punch very quickly indeed. Taking cover, as you can see him popping a nade in towards Jackie. Jackie Chan, duh. Of course, Ducky Chan. Well, Ducky taking down Masu, pops his head round the corner very quickly. And now you can see Dignitas have re-established the bleed onto... Oh, look at that. Waffly taking down 2 members.
From Dig over at A, and that is going to give MYM the 2 flags that they need to start stopping the rot, which is Dignitas's ticket lead right now. Yeah,
that was a pretty key play there from Waffly, I should say, doing a great job, taking down 2 of the enemies, and they've got that point back almost immediately. Dignitas rotating in very quickly from A to B, enables them to take that point back as quickly as they possibly can. Literally every time I'm locking on somebody to see what they're up to, they're dying. And this is the commentator's curse, as you can imagine. So MYM now moving in and trying to capture one of the other points, as you can see. B is flashing, C is flashing, A is holding steady at the moment as he comes under fire and takes down Walu. Lovely shot there with the ace 23. Flax doing a fantastic job. Pops down the med pack to keep himself healthy. But he's got to watch out because there are people sneaking around. So he's going to take a rather sneaky situation. And let's see if we can follow Giggly as he makes his way in. Popping nades out. He's seen Flaxy and then drops a nade on his body just for good measure. And now we could be talking about a possibility. No. Oh, we nearly had a total bleed there as far as... MYM were concerned. It came close for a second, but unfortunately they weren't successful.
To slowly reposition about B. They know that that's where Dignitas are going to throw the majority of their players here, and Dignitas have just cleaned up a B. So you're going to have Waffy coming in here to try and reset the balance. But I think the damage is already done unless he can clear it. That's 2 people from Dignitas. Giggly is totally left by himself trying to hold on the B, and that is going to be the ticket bleed back in MYM's favour.
Yeah, look at that. But the trouble is now MYM are down to 7 tickets. This is going to be a problem. They've got to try and not die as much as possible. They've got to hold that bleed if they can get the other bleed as well. 58 tickets for Dignitas, 7 for MYM. Now, the thing is, it may be that they decide to just let this round be taken, but to try and get those tickets down as much as they possibly can. As you can see, I don't think you see a lot of moving in. Punch taking down 1 member of Dignitas, and you see Dignitas not being as aggressive as they were before, being a little bit more careful because they know they don't want to give too many tickets away. If they can get a lucky pick, oh, down goes Masu. If they can get a lucky pick.
They're holding back too much. They really need to know they've got a lead. They want to win this. They need to just go in the big group and finish this game off. They're starting to do what they did against Rock, and they're starting to get sloppy in their finishing off. They're closing off of a round.
So now we're looking at Gig coming in there, doing a nice kill with the AEK. Oh, catching a nade there, taking him down to 38 health. And now you can see him making his way towards the next point as he takes a little bit of fire.
MYM can do this. MYM can still win this series. Win this round. It all comes down. If Waffy here can keep dropping Dignitas players the way he is, then they're going to find themselves with a very close fought win here on this round. And there's another one down. Dignitas are starting to struggle on this attack onto the B flag.
Yeah, it's definitely looking that way at the moment. Flaxy getting involved as well. He's up nearby Waffy, taking down... Oh, he took down Nore as a quick bomb there coming in from... Dignitas, and now it's down to 15
and
tickets
Masu
to 2.
There comes in and cleans up 2 people, and as soon as no one revives them, that is going to be it. If there's a rush to the revives here, but that is it. It's going to be a closer victory than we would have expected when Dig were way far ahead, but only 13 ticket victory for Dig on that round. That is not much at all.
It isn't. It isn't. That is a very small margin that can be got back from very quickly, and I'd have to say a great display there of control by MYM, not throwing away their lives, not throwing away their tickets, and essentially allowing Dignitas to throw themselves at their guns and continually bleed away those tickets. They had that advantage, so I would say that was very, very smart play by MYM.
Dignitas proving that they are the top team right now to watch, but at the same time they seem to be struggling on finishing off their opponents. Each time now, it's not the first time in series, sorry, against Rock they had the same situation, but they were in a commanding position with so many tickets, but they just couldn't finish off the round. They start to get very sloppy and start to get picked off. MYM there could have ended up finding themselves 0 to 45 or 0 to 50, but they managed to get it all the way down to 13 tickets. That is really good play by MYM, and absolutely exactly what they needed when they had a very bad start on the first round.
Yeah, that was good play. That's exactly the kind of thing, and like you said, that's exactly the kind of thing that Dignitas want to literally. They want to get in there, they want to get the coup de grace, they want to finish it off and get it over and done with so that they can actually move on to the next one. So, round number 2, ladies and gentlemen, on this map, the teams obviously have been switched around, and let's see how they split. So you can see there, MYM going for a 2-2 or 2-2-1 split, and Diggy going for a 3-2 split, as far as you can see, means that actually Dignitas have been very aggressive. They've got their gimme, and they're actually pushing very aggressively onto the B site. It looks like MYM were deciding to push down towards the C site and bypass that B site entirely, Dogbert.
It's what Punchrel is doing at the moment that I'm most interested about. He knows that Dig would have sent someone to C to defend. He held quiet, waited, and now he's making a push out onto the C point. This is going to be really critical because Dignitas really are holding around B, expecting C to be absolutely clear. And there you go, that's 2 people spawn onto C, and Ducky Chan is just waiting around the back to make sure that if there's any full commitment from Dig, but they'll pay dearly for it.
Yeah, it's looking to be the case. Now, obviously, Ducky in there, you've seen him play before, and he's got his ace out, and he's got his sight ready to go as Waffy dies to his right and his teammate dies to his left. This could be a tricky situation for him. There we go. Now that was very, very tense moment there, because Ducky didn't actually stick his head over. He left it for a few seconds and then stuck his head over. So he was waiting maybe for the Dignitas player who was there to relax, thinking, there's nobody here, I can now move on, and then literally jumped over the wall and shot him in the head. So let's see, as now you can see these guys, the bleed unfortunately is now on them. So MYM have the bleed on them. They're down to 169 tickets. There is obviously about 20 difference at the moment. However, MYM are also probing the defences around one of the other points. And now, maybe, there we go, they're taking out the lights, which makes it even harder to see them. And they're going to try and get that bleed onto Dignitas and try and get that difference of 20 tickets down as much as they possibly can. Bear in mind, it's only 13 tickets. That's such a small point. As Noe comes in, gets taken down as he tries to move into that point. And there we go. That's one of the other points there. But fortunately for them, Walu and Dignitas have actually held on to point C. And the bleed continues to be onto MYM, Dogbert.
There's a good 3-on-2 at C, which Dignitas managed to come out victorious. Now, what is going on here? If you look over at where Ducky Chan is, they are using the underpass there to bypass Dignitas defences and get to the critical points of A and C. Whenever Dignitas have either A or C, you will find an MYM player using the outskirts of the map to get to their rear without being spotted and to mass spawn and capture a flag quite quickly. This forces Dignitas to either defend the flag, which they're going to run into defenders straight away, or push onto a flag which is already held by MYM. If they sit back and wait, then the bleed ends up going against them and they end up losing, so they have to do one or the other.
Yeah, now Henker's in a very dangerous situation. There we go, he was the last man standing in the squad. Fortunately for him, his teammates spawned around him and to try and get that point back. But the C point currently being held, and now the bleed, it looks like the bleed, yeah, it's onto Dignitas, so Safe gets taken down, and we're now looking at Henker, Walu and Nure currently holding on to life, and we'll just wait and see what's going on as they then start pushing up towards the B point, which it looks to be the way they're going. And now we're watching Valu make his way in. He's trading fire with Ducky Chan. A shot coming in from Ducky, and you can see that looks to be a oh, did you see that? Oh, that looked to be a DMR possibly. Nice shot there going in, and Punchwall being finished off by Masu. So Masu's pushing into that B point, I should say, trying to trade fire, and unfortunately gets shut down, as now the points are swapping ownership yet again, with Dignitas now moving in towards B, MYM moving off, and the other MIM moving off into another direction as well. So it's looking pretty interesting thus far, wouldn't you say, Dogbert?
It is indeed, and I think really what is happening at this point, really, Dignitas have got a slight lead. They already have 13 tickets from the previous game, but more importantly, they have about a 25 ticket lead right now. But they're not particularly worried about how MYM are constantly getting behind them. They're more involved in they're usually pushing them with about 3 men on a flag to just try and overwhelm where MYM are leaving kind of weak rear guards. So Dignitas are playing now a much more aggressive game than they did in the previous series, and it is kind of working out for them, but they could do it maybe a little bit better, because they are dropping quite a few of these flags for quite a significant amount of time.
Yeah, now obviously we just watched Ducky there having a little bit of a run-in, and with another member of Dignitas round by the C point, and he unfortunately came a cropper, but more members of his team spawned on him, and now they looks like they're going to be pushing pretty hard in towards the next point to get that bleed off of them, because now the bleed, look at that, 130 tickets to 125. They've got it down to a difference of 4 tickets, or 6 tickets now I should say. That's pretty insane thus far, and it means that maybe MYM could turn it around and actually turn back some of that 13 ticket advantage that Dignitas had from the previous round, Dogbert.
Dignitas are taking far too long on the rotations here. There was 4 Dignitas members fighting just 3 from MYM. Meanwhile, 2 of the 3 MYM players were moving off to the A point, which they took very easily. So Dignitas now just found themselves with a very, very short full domination cap, which they have rectified immediately. That leaves Dignitas now with the ticket bleed back in their favour, as they split off, went to C and captured B. So now it's back on to B. The Stalingrad of this map is once again going to be the focal point.
Yeah, because it is such a war of attrition, this B point, because there's so many entrances into that B point, there's so many avenues to actually get round to back rage people as well, and it looks like pretty much most of Dignitas have actually been wiped out on that point, and Henker is literally the last man standing. He's trying to hold it, he's taking fire from grenades. Oh, took a grenade straight to the back and then in the face. Lovely grenades coming in from MYM, and that was a serious problem for Dignitas. They got shut down at that B point. Now the bleed is up against them, and now Giggly and friends have to move in towards that point, try and take down as many of the MYM as they can and take that point back, get the bleed back away from them. As nades come flying in towards Giggly, he has to put down a health pack, and now this is a serious problem as far as Dignitas are concerned. They have the bleed against them, and for the first time it looks like MYM have taken the lead when it comes to the tickets. Dogbert.
MYM here are putting down a solid defence at B. They did something on the attack at B which was very, very unique. The amount of grenades they were throwing, I think they must have been using the miniature grenades, because they were absolutely pinning down Dig. There was constant grenade fire, and I think that really, really hurt that really, really hurt Dignitas, and I haven't seen quite a succession of grenades being dropped off quite like that. So something to maybe put into consideration in the future. But right now, if you're looking at B, all you're seeing is grenades and grenades and grenades.
It's a veritable grenade party here at the B site of Dawnbreaker, and you can see now obviously we're following, of course, Ducky himself as he is making his way in towards that point. You can see most of his teammates have mysteriously snuffed it. Waffy is down, and it looks like they're going to try and get that point. Look at that. Oh, then very close as Ducky gets taken down as he moves in towards the C point, trying to get the burn off, as now the US are possibly going for a total domination cap there. Let's see.
Dig gets a full domination, which they needed at that point in time. Flax was the only person near a flag, which was C, but that left Dignitas with a ticket lead once again in their advantage, and that is 87 ticket lead to 73. So Dignitas here have got themselves back into the driving seat, and they're making MYM pay for their little breakdown in defences earlier.
Yeah, they're probably pretty pissed about that, so we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. As yet again, MYM doing the grenade thing. Now, obviously, for those of you who are not aware, the mini grenades have a smaller explosive radius, but because they are smaller in their general size, you can carry 3 as opposed to 1. And so, you know, this is the kind of thing that they're probably using. And not only that, because they're smaller, you can actually throw them further, and the actual throwing arc is significantly shallower. So these are things that are being used, obviously, to MYM's advantage. But look, they're down to 57 tickets to 84, and MYM really need to get that bleed off of them as quickly as they possibly can. But Dignitas are defending to the hilt to try and ensure that their bleed remains onto MYM. Dogbert.
Giggly there managed to hold the A point long enough to give Dig the C and give time to reposition to B. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to stop MYM, as they managed to get in the house between B and C and clean up the Dignitas defences. Dignitas here are going to have to get themselves quickly back onto the B side, otherwise the ticket lead that they do have is going to be bled down, and MYM will be able to even up the series.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Now, one thing I did notice is, I don't know what happened, but there was such a firefight at the B point, literally all that was left was corpses. It's like somebody drank the wrong Kool-Aid. So we'll just have to wait and see how things turn out, as now we're looking at Ducky Chan moving his way to nowhere because it's gone black. Oh dear. Okay, so Ducky Chan unfortunately nearly crashed in my machine, but never mind. As now we move in to watch Nure as he's making his way in. He's a little bit unhealthy, but he is continuing to cycle round and hold that point, or try and hold that point with his Dignitas teammates onto the B. Look at the grenades come flying in. They're doing it again. Waffy being taken down by Nure, and now also then being finished off as well. Ducky Chan also being killed.
Look for MYM to make a push onto C.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're going all onto B. Look at this. MYM caught Dignitas completely by surprise. They're all over them here, and that looks like Dig are going to get cleaned up at the B flag.
Yeah.
But Dignitas, as soon as they realise they're about to be overwhelmed, instantly put players onto A. And that is what you do in Battlefield, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as you're about to be overwhelmed, you get the hell out of dodge and capture a flag. It is not defended.
Yeah, because obviously with a small amount of numbers, they can't be everywhere. Now, obviously, that was a pretty serious wipe as far as Dignitas were concerned. Now look at the tickets. The tickets still in the advantage of Dignitas, 47 to 31 against MYM, and the bleed currently onto Dignitas, so they need to try and turn that around as possibly if they can. Waffy doing a great job taking down Nure, taking down
MYM have just wiped Dignitas at the B flag, and this is going to leave them open to taking the lead in this series. They are well on track to winning this round. In fact, if they can just hold on for a few more minutes, they will take the first map in this series.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good at the moment, and you can see now, obviously, as far that's Giggly there doing his thing, chucking down nades as well. Looks like he's come with the 3 nade option as well. The micro nades looks like a couple of kills happening as Giggly's now moving in. There we go. Looks like they're doing a little bit of back raging there, taking down punch.
This is the push. If Dig can get a hold of B flag, they've cleaned up in the tunnels here. If Dignitas can hold B for the next minute, they will win this series. MYM are going to have to throw everyone in here or get a very quick spawn to A. It looks like it's all on B.
Yeah, now we're seeing Ducky Chan. Oh, Ducky Chan taking down Dignitas Masu as he's trying to defend that B point. So let's see if we can follow Ducky, who's at 21-7. Now, that's interesting. Have you noticed where Ducky is actually going in relation to the B-bomb site at or the capture flag at the moment? So you can see Waffy.
The Dignitas are playing a very fluid game here. They do not want them to have pushed into B and only to find themselves capturing C, but that didn't matter because MYM held at both C and B. And now it looks like they are going to take this series unless Dignitas can pull some very impressive plays out here. Yeah, it all comes down to this attack at B.
Yeah, we're watching the attack at B at the moment through the eyes of punches. There we go. He goes, try to take. Oh, takes down Nure with a lovely headshot coming in from his AK. And there we go. Another fire. More grenades going in as Ducky Chan gets taken down. Holy crap. Was that 5 tickets difference?
A 5-ticket difference. MYM there getting a good grip of the game in the very last 5 minutes and bleeding Dignitas's lead, and that was brilliant play by MYM there.
I think I can speak for everyone else when I say, holy crap! That was pretty damn cool.
The amount of nades MYM were able to put down on that B flag was just very impressive. They cleaned out Dignitas multiple times when they committed to that flag, and that's really what gave them the series.
Well, that's what gave them that map. We're on to the next one, because there's still another one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
yes.
my bad.
Yes. Shame on you, sir. Hang your head in shame immediately. So now we're moving on to Operation Lockers. Now, the meat grinder, this will be a war of attrition. And it will be very interesting to see, because obviously there won't be as much sort of vertical movement. There's going to be a lot more closed in. It's going to be easier to get wipes, I would have thought, because people are sort of closed in. They can be bunched in, locked in, and it's going to be interesting to see how the MYM team now move on, knowing that they've won that first map. Also, what's going to be in the mind of the Dignitas team, because they've just lost that first map by 5 tickets. They are going to want to turn this around. They are going to want to stamp their authority and their dominance onto this final and show them who's boss. Wouldn't you agree, Dogbert?
I think they don't really have that much to worry. They might be very frustrated that they didn't finish off the first round of the map much better, because they were significantly far ahead, but they kind of just got sloppy in their execution and finish. And I think that really hurt them. They really could have come out of the first round with over 50 tickets. But yeah, on the second round, we are talking about an MYM team that really stepped it up and held firm and shut down Dignitas when they were trying to do their plays on both flags at the same time. And I think that really just shows that MYM is adapting to a very flexible and very fluid Dignitas team.
Definitely, definitely. It means that this match is going to be all to play for, especially when there's only a difference of 5 tickets between the two teams. So I think whoever, as I move out of the combat area, very annoying, whoever wins this first map or the first round will be in the driving seat with respect to the second round, and obviously it might mean that the opposing teams will have to change up their strategy a little bit. But we're obviously waiting to see what's going on, as obviously Masu's the only person in there who's in here shooting people. He's currently in the process of shooting. He's shooting the glass. So Masu doing his best to generally trash the area. And
he's helping us spectators out, because we can't go through glass.
That's a good point. Yes, thank you for that, Masu. So, so we're just waiting for the guys to get themselves ready, and obviously come back from walking the cat, having a pee, having a cup of coffee or a cigarette to calm down, and move on to Operation Locker, which is the next map and the final map of this competition. I have to say, so far this has been a fantastic competition. My special thanks go out to all the teams who have signed up and taken part. Thank you. This competition would not be what it is without you guys taking part and providing us with some fantastic matches to watch. And of course, the thanks especially go out to the ESL and to all the admins for arranging this, getting this sorted out, and running the whole system while we've been busy here talking loads of balls, basically.
I think I have been talking as much balls as I possibly can when it comes to the team setup, because whenever I ever say that, yeah, they're going to do this or they're going to hold here, they end up getting absolutely blasted by the other team.
Yeah. Ooh,
I wonder what happens. I've just got the free cam here, and it says return to combat zone in 3,
it
2,
kills
1. It kills me. How?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, the thing is, one thing that is quite interesting with respect to the observer cam is you are technically a invisible entity. You physically exist, which is why you can't clip through the ground, but also, if you put the camera on the floor and somebody runs towards you or run right towards you, they actually push the camera out of the way. So, technically speaking, the camera is a physical entity within this map. So.
Oh yeah, I can't run through people either. That's a shame.
Exactly.
Want to see what they're made of.
You can get into trouble for that sort of thing.
Oh well, it wouldn't be the first time.
Okay, so let's see, as we're going to... Well, we were going to follow Masu, but he's unfortunately seems to be lying down on the floor, face down. Didn't look particularly well, I have to say. So
probably had some bullets stopping him from feeling very well.
yeah, it was probably a lead-related injury, but yeah, these things do happen from time to time. So now, looking at that, I wonder if that was Valor in there with a 416. Difficult to say. So anyway, the map is now being restarted, and we may be underway with what will be the final Battlefield 4 map of this competition. I don't know what's happening about the third place. We might be able to bring that to you yet. So obviously we'll get confirmation on that, because it will be also good to see. And we are on, and we are ready to go. Dogbert.
I'll be very interested to see exactly how this is played by the two teams. From what we've seen so far, Russia usually puts a 4-man or even a full-man team down into the B flag, and usually the US team will split up a bit and go to C. And that is kind of what we're seeing here. We're seeing a massive push here by MYM to move on to the B flag, and it looks like they may even succeed as well. They've cleaned up 2-1 on Dig there, so... But the bleed goes straight in Dig's favour. But will they be able to hold on to the B flag, as it does look like MYM are putting a bit of pressure onto that flag?
Now Dignitas obviously in as US and MYM in as Russia as the red. So there you go, you can see looks like Value there. Chadman had a little bit of a run-in with the Duckman, and unfortunately coming a cropper. So Henker and Giggly are the only ones left standing. But also you've got Waffy and Flax moving in. Oh, Flax coming in there. Got shut down very quickly. But you've also now got Ducky Chan going in for the area where they spawn. So Masu being taken down before he can actually get anywhere. And now you can see more nades going down into the lower levels where they expect Dignitas to be hiding. Comes in, takes down Henker. So Ducky Chan already running with 4-0. And he's doing a really good job trading fire with Giggly. And Walu also then taken down as well. Wow, that's almost a near white for Dignitas. And yet again, there's Masu as well. Oh my goodness, what's going on? It looks like MIM have got the bit between the teeth. Oh, and the Duckman killing everybody. Wow, look at that.
MYM are doing a really good job here. They're holding the B&A. They had a push out to C, which was shut down by Nunna. And Dignitas now are going to throw all their eggs into this push onto A here. And it looks like MYM are already set up shop and are ready for a defense. This is not looking good for Team Dignitas, as they're finding themselves in a meat grinder here, where they are behind on the tickets and in the bleed.
Yeah, that's not a good situation as far as Dignitas are concerned. But it seems that this close quarters combat MYM are actually quite excelling at the moment, and they're checking their corners obviously just to making sure that everybody is being taken care of. And you can see pretty much every single firefight that Dignitas in numbers of more than 2 seem to be losing to MYM at the moment, and that's really what's going to hurt them as far as you can see, as they're down 100. There's only a difference of about 17 tickets between the two teams, but there we go. There's Henker being taken down by Flax with a long distance headshot. And now you can see obviously Ducky Chan recently deceased there, and yeah, this is not looking good as far as Dignitas are concerned. Down now just under 25 tickets, and only 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the map gone thus far. This is not a good trend as far as Dignitas are concerned. They need to turn this around fast, Dogbert.
Dignitas are capturing B, but they're taking far too much time to clean up this MYM lineup. Meanwhile, MYM have already sent people away to capture C, and I think they go to capture it with Safat. But meanwhile, Dignitas are putting Henker and Masu over to A to capture it. So the bleed is going to go back into Dignitas' favour, and it all comes down to exactly how MYM are planning to react here. Are they going to go back for B, which is what they seem to be aiming for mostly, or are they going to just keep playing musical flags here, as they already have a small lead?
Yeah, it's the case. They're going to try and get the bleed on there. As you can see, Masu chucking out the nades, popping down onto the lower levels. Oh, lovely outflanking, taking down Saif. Fantastic play by Masu, taking down Masu, I should say, taking down 2 members of the enemy with a nice little jump down into the lower levels, and that's really going to hurt MYM, especially now as they have this additional bleed on them as well. 159 tickets, 144 tickets. This is turning out to be one serious game.
It's interesting. I keep watching Ducky Chan, and he just done it again. He keeps holding back. He spawns in a very peculiar and very dangerous place, which usually very far behind Dignitas, and what he does is wait. He's waiting for his teammate to tell him where Dignitas are putting majority of their pressure. And while this is going on, MYM are putting pressure onto B onto C, and they're going to get the full domination cap of this map.
Wow, that's serious goings on there. But now Valu is moving into that point as he's trading fire with MYM. As you can see, Punch in there as well. Punch takes down, oh, but then finally gets pistoled down by the 93. Valu then dying as he tries to get out of the point, but fortunately it looks like Dignitas is going to try and get that point back as quickly as possible, as Masu is trying to defend against multiple pushes into A. Out go the nades, loads of fire coming into Masu at the moment, and you can see the bleed currently in the favour of the Russian team, as you can see the US team.
Masu is going to find himself in a very awkward position here. If he can survive here, this is going to be very good, but he's taken down, and that gives MYM but A point, and more importantly, Dignitas are struggling to find their footing in this matchup.
Yeah, it's looking that way at the moment, and it's not looking good as far as they're concerned. 147 tickets to 124, and now you can see Punch defending at certain corners, checking his corners, checking doorways where he expects Dignitas to come from, and this is looking pretty serious as far as they're concerned. So let's just see how things turn out, and let's continue to watch as you can see now another push in from Nure from Dignitas. So you see he gets shut down very quickly by Punch. And now you can see obviously Save coming in as well. So we're watching Save, there we go. He takes very close to getting a grenade in the face, and now he backs off.
Punch and Suffet, they're just cleaning up a 3-man Dignitas squad, and this is putting Dignitas in the worst position possible. They have the C flag, but they're out in the cold, and they're struggling to get through the corridors to get to a flag to capture. And even when they do, they're taking too long to clear up the MYM lineup, and they're being baited into very awkward corridor fighting, which MYM is winning.
Yeah, it's definitely looking that way at this current moment, and the C point now being contested, as you will watch Valu move in. No, he won't, as he gets shut down very quickly. So let's move on to Nure, who, along with Masu, one of the few people left standing, as he is going to try and capture that point. There we go, runs around the corner to takes down Waffy, but then unfortunately another member of MYM spawns on him, and he gets taken down very quickly indeed. So let's follow Henke as he's moving in towards a point. Oh, he was signalling out to somebody else, and unfortunately got caught at the corner of his eye. He got taken down very quickly, and now we're looking at the A point being contested by MYM, the C point just about to be contested as far as we can see, and the B point currently under the control of Valu, and he is in the process of trying to defend against that. He's got to pick one direction or the other. Which way does he go, left or right? Let's see if we can do. There we go, goes after Save, got his back to him, and there we go. He then gets taken down very quickly by a member of MYM, as you can now see, as we'll follow Henke as he's pushing out towards the tunnel, but he also then gets taken down very quickly, and Giggly also in there with the AEK, looking pretty good. This thing chews through ammunition, something rotten, and he takes down Flax, spraying him full of lead. And now this is a serious situation because it's 128 tickets to 81 in favour of MYM. This is not a good situation for Dignitas right now, Dogbert.
It's not at all, but they are going to get B and they are going to get A. If Giggly here can make an impressive play and take out both of these MYM, you're going to find Dignitas in a very, very good position. It's all down to how good can Giggly hold this point and take down the MYM players. No, he can't. So it all comes down to now if MYM are going to commit to just holding 2 flags and just bleeding out Dig, or if they're going to play this game of just moving around. They seem to just be able to win the fights at will. Dignitas just seem to be struggling to get their footing in this matchup.
That is very strange considering how we've seen Dignitas play previously. Maybe they haven't played this map enough. It's difficult to say, but MYM are really taking it to Dignitas at the moment and proving themselves to be extremely good at this very close-in quarters, claustrophobic style of combat in Battlefield 4 on this particular map. There we go, taking down Henke. So maybe it's the peeking of the corners, checking the doors. I don't know, but it's you can see more fire coming in. There we go. Another member, Nure, there being taken down.
Completely cleared out by a 5-man MYM team, and they might have been able to clear that up, but they did lose C and B at the same time. So it all comes down to where MYM are going to throw their weight down, and it's going to be B, and Giggly cleans the first man to pop his around the corner, and that would have been Waffle, and MYM here finding himself in ticket bleed against them.
Yeah, it's being recorrected as far as Dignitas is concerned. However, Ducky Chan being taken down by Giggly as he tried to get back into cover. Very unfortunate as Henke moves in to support his teammate, and he's now going to push down towards where Ducky Chan's body is now cooling, and see if he can push in on that advantage against MYM, pushing in towards one of the infirmaries. Maybe see what he can do, see what kind of damage. Now that's interesting. He actually deliberately moved in and set off the alarm, almost as if to signal to the guy who was defending that somebody was there. And now you can see, oh, there we go, Ducky Chan coming in and taking down 3 members of Dignitas from the rear. Oh, back raging par excellence from Ducky Chan there. That's really going to hurt Dignitas, and now the bleed is back onto Dig with 56 tickets left on the board, 96 tickets in favour of MYM, and the lights have gone out, and it's looking like the lights may have gone out for Team Dignitas on this round, Dogbert.
They were split quite badly on that one. They should have really been able to take A. They were just doing a rear guard action mainly at C, but they were caught out by a very good spawn by MYM, which right where the metal detectors were, so they were caught in a crossfire immediately. And Dignitas here are just playing very sloppy, and they're not getting themselves anywhere near a flag point, and they're finding themselves locked down in the prison yard in B. Yeah,
now obviously we're moving on Master at the moment. Shut down, looks like him and Waffy managed to trade, and you can now see Valu moving in, checking his corners. But you can see them moving. You can see MYM, they're not moving into noticeable areas so that Dignitas can engage them. And that's maybe part of the problem, as Dignitas Master gets shut down as well. Nori and Giggly, the only ones left standing. There we go, shut, and that's a complete wipe for Dignitas. Holy crap, that's really not good.
Bad at this point. Dignitas need to be able to get a hold of 2 flags and just get the bleed going in their favour. Unfortunately, they're not letting that happen, and they're getting wiped out in large groups. And MYM here, already with the ticket bleed, are eating up the Dignitas lineup whenever they come in for a big group fight.
Now look at the difference in tickets, 95 to 11. That's a serious amount of tickets as Flaxy gets shut down. Looks like he traded with Giggly, and now you can see Henke moving in to try and capture that point. The music has begun, so they know that they're coming towards the end of the map, and now you can see them moving forward as you can see them moving down towards the prison area, and Henke is going to be running into one of them. There we go, Walu runs into safe, gets taken down very quickly, and now we're waiting for the tickets to eventually bleed out, as it looks like the B point being contested by Waffy and Dignitas, and you can see there we go, Waffy being finished off. Dignitas Masu, we move in to watch him as he moves in behind Giggly and then gets shot in the back very quickly, down to 4 tickets, 88 tickets to 4 tickets. And here comes Valu coming in with a little bit of a side rage, manages to take out a few people but gets killed very quickly. I think that's part of the problem that they're having at the moment. Oh, punch taking down Henke very nastily through the bars, is that once they get into a situation where there's multiple targets, they are unable to wipe out as many of them as they can before they actually get taken out, and I think that's what's really hurt them.
MYM they're holding them in place and then bringing people around the rear to finish them off. So that's an 81 point win on this round on a critical map, because this is a very difficult map to actually get a good lead on. So they've already got 18 points from the previous round, so that is very, very dangerous for Team Dignitas. They need to come out in the next round and basically play the game of their life.
Yeah, they need to basically come in and seriously prod Buttock. That is what needs to happen as far as Dignitas are concerned, because of that 81 ticket difference. That's going to be a serious problem for them, but we get to see it in all its glory, so we are just waiting to see how things go. Now, if you were the leader of Team Dignitas, what would you be saying to these guys now?
Forget the fact that you have a 99 ticket deficit and just play aggressive. They need to get the 2 flags, and then they need to get their feet down and dig in. They need to just bleed out eyeballers. They need to take control of this game from the get-go and don't let MYM get any momentum going.
So, there you have it. There you have it. This is what Dignitas have to do, and we are 20 seconds away from the next round. And I am Chadman, and of course I have with me Mr.Dogbert, and we are bringing you the final round of this Test Cup, Dignitas versus MYM. 4 seconds to go, and we are underway. Let's see how they split off as they go into the main round. Let's have a look. There we go. So let's just see. Looks like a 3-2 split by Dignitas, and exactly the look at that. That's almost perfect. Now that's very interesting. Have you noticed what's happening relating to A?
The different setup, but this is because MYM are playing a defensive battle here, and they've started off with the ticket bleed, and this is where Dignitas do not want to be. They should have put as much as they could onto an attack at B, and not worried so much about going for C. And now I think that's what they're going to try and do, as they realise that C is probably too heavily defended. Dignitas are going to end up with the ticket bleeds, hopefully in their favour very soon. But at this point in the game, at this point in the series, they cannot let that ticket bleed at all go in MYM's favour. It will hurt them completely if they do.
Yeah, now obviously we're moving... Oh, look at Punch roll. Oh, lovely shot into Giggly. Oh, fantastic shot there from Punch. And he is in a very nasty little place there. And he's taking a little bit far. He then has to run for it. As out comes Noe with the Dignitas Pain Train, taking them down. And looks like they're trying to capture one of those points again.
Ducky-chan can clear up C. It will be a huge moment for MYM.
So we're watching the Duck. We're watching the Duckman, one of the pistol kills. Look at that.
Not only does he clear it up, but this gives MYM enough time to attack on A, and Dignitas are finding themselves for a very possible full domination cap against them. This is brilliant play by MYM. They are just doing everything they need to close out this series, and Dignitas are clutching at straws right now to get themselves back into the series.
Yeah, and now we're looking at Nore. He's around one of the, I think it is the B site at the moment, and he's currently in the process of taking a little bit of fire. Him and Ducky-chan trading as soon as they move in, and now let's see if we can follow Punch as he's making his way out, trying to push in towards one of those points, making the B point flash. Nice little sneaky peek towards the C flag, and things are progressing. Things are quiet, almost, in Punch Rule's life right now.
If Dignitas' tickets go below 86, they will find themselves out of this tournament. And right now, MYM have the ticket bleed, they have the momentum, and it's Dignitas that have to come up with something spectacular to get back in this series.
Yeah, it's looking that way, and then we're watching Masu coming in, taking down Save. And now you can see Masu and Giggly is the only one left, but he gets finished off very quickly by Punch Roll. Now, one thing I am noticing is that a lot of the battles that MYM have, literally, as soon as you start shooting at another one appears almost from a separate section and reinforces that fire. And maybe that's part of the reason why Dignitas are not winning these battles, is because of the support coming from each other when it comes from the teammates of MYM, is that they're getting in there and they're doing that damage as quickly as possible, and they're taking people out. I mean, you can see Noe there getting a nice kill onto Ducky-chan, but now you can see Dignitas moving forward and moving in towards... Oh, both shut down! Punch shutting down two members of Dignitas as they rushed into that A point, and that's really going to hurt them now. As you can see, the burn continuing to hit Dignitas, as they've now got to come in from the cold and moving towards that point, as we're watching Masu having a little bit of fun. He's got to get value back up again. They're really going to have to concentrate on the reses as much as they possibly can, and down goes Masu courtesy of a grenade. This is not looking good. 172 to 132 at the moment. The bleed is on to Team Dignitas, and things are not looking good right now, Dogbert.
No, it's not at all. Dignitas are finding themselves in really frustrating position of being stuck out at sea, and this is exactly what happened in the first round. They found themselves stuck out at sea, trying to get into B and A, but always being shut down by a more defensive-minded MYM lineup. And really, it is Dignitas are really struggling here, and MYM are just pulling away with it.
Yeah, it's we're obviously going to see if we can focus on Mr. Ducky-chan, the Duckman himself. And you can see two members of his enemy team just dying directly above him, and Waffy also catching a bullet, as you can see. Oh, look at this. Let's follow very quietly as we're watching Mr. Chan. Very quietly. There we go, takes down Masu with a nice concentrated fire, and goes for Noe as well, but unfortunately does not get him. Noe, smart enough to actually get behind cover, stay out of trouble, knows he does not want to give them any more tickets than is necessary, but then Oldie tries to back rage, and then comes, Masu and Noe, both taken down by the Duckman. Oh, that was terrible for Team Dignitas, and what can we say, but the Duckman is all-powerful and should not be messed with. Dogbert.
Dignitas here are really just struggling. MYM have got the momentum. Everything is going in their way. They're about to put Dignitas below 100 tickets. And remember, everyone, if they can get Dig below 86 tickets, they will be the first ESL champions in BF4. So Dignitas here are going to have to come up with the best play you are ever going to see in BF to level this series. Every revive at this point counts, every ticket matters, and Dignitas are only 15 tickets away from losing this match.
Now, one thing I was watching there was Flaxy in there with a nice little camp to take out one of the members of Dignitas. There we go, shutting down Giggly as well. It was one thing I've noticed, literally Flax, Punch Rule, Ducky, Saif, each of them have had triple kills on Dignitas in the last 2 minutes, and those are kills that Dignitas can rarely afford at the moment. As you can see, Henker being taken down, he pulls out the pistol, goes in, gets taken down as quick. Now that's another thing, as you notice, literally as soon as he died, another member of MYM was literally right behind him to reinforce that fire, and now they're down to 76 tickets at the moment, 154 to 76, and now you can see Saif moving in. There we go, Matsu taken down, and also the other member of Dignitas taken down on the C point, and now this is not looking good. Valu trying to move in, he then getting shut down very quickly. They're down to 73 tickets, things are not looking good, and you can see now Dignitas really struggling. Dogbert.
Dignitas have really not been able to find their footing on this map. This map is definitely MYM's best map. I have not seen a team quite take to it quite as well, and they're making a great team like Dignitas look bad in comparison. They are making them play to their own beat, and they are making them dance to the point of exhaustion. And Dignitas now have not got a ticket, nowhere near are going to be able to rectify the ticket difference, and MYM are going to be your first ESL champions.
Yeah, that's a pretty turnabout as far as we were concerned. I mean, obviously, even in the chat, looking at the chat that we had for the actual straw poll, 80% of the viewers thought that Dignitas were actually going to take this, and it turned out that MYM were the underdogs, and they've proved that they are more than just underdogs. They are a force to be reckoned with, and will be so in Battlefield 4 for quite some time, and we're looking forward to seeing them in future competitions as well as Dignitas, I should say. And yeah, there we go, the full burn onto the Russian team, or onto the US team, MYM, achieved by Dignitas, but unfortunately maybe too late, Dogbert.
It's too little, and it is very much too late for Dignitas to be able to get much back into this. They're playing for honour now. They're going to bleed out as much as they can on US, but unfortunately it is all MYM right now, and Dignitas are really just struggling to respond.
Now, one thing, I don't know if you've noticed, MYM have lost a player.
Well, it doesn't really matter for MYM if they've lost a player. They could lose another 4 and it wouldn't make any difference, as the tickets they have already got have already given them the championship. I do not see any way that even Dignitas could do very much at this point in this game.
Unfortunately, it appears to be the case, but what can we say? I mean, this has been a final to die for. This is exactly the kind of thing that we want to see in Battlefield. Close matches between extremely talented teams, and that makes for good viewing as well. So you can see, there we go, Giggly coming under a little bit of fire from Flax, popping in the nades. Now that's one thing, obviously, thing to use is you've seen a lot of the use of the AK-971, you've seen a lot of use of the micro grenades as well, because of the additional number of grenades they give you as poor old Flax gets cut down by Valu. And these are things that you might start to see more of, or do you think it's a chance that you might end up seeing them being removed from competitive play?
Well, this is the reason we have a test cup, isn't it? A lot of the weapons we're seeing now might never be ever seen again. I would like to see something really to mix up the standard play that we're seeing here of the same weapons and the same tactics and so on. I mean, it's only really been Dignitas that's been employing the motion sensor, which has been, other than that, everyone is basically playing this like Battlefield 3, which you can't really be surprised, as we are talking about 2 of the very best BF3 teams that have made the transition over to 4. But yeah, give this a month of solid play like the way we have, with top teams and really good competitions, you are going to see the evolution of the Battlefield.
That's exactly the kind of thing that we want to see, and that's exactly the kind of thing that we want you, the viewers, to see, because this is the kind of entertainment and fascinating games and just clutch moments that we just want to bring you. You can't get better than Battlefield moments as far as we're concerned, and we look forward to bringing you all of those as they come in the near future. And it's just going to be so much fun, especially when you think, I mean, think about it, this is two teams, like you said, you've made the transition from BF3 to BF4, and holy crap, what a transition, I have to say.
There's not that much difference between the two games, so it's not particularly difficult for top-level FPS players to make the switch. And I must admit, if there's any players out there who are not familiar to Battlefield, and you've made any headway in BF before, you can make an impact quite easily. It's that kind of game. You got the reactions, you got the ability to think on your feet, you should be playing this game.
Definitely, definitely. And, you know, we hope that there are people out here who are encouraged to get involved with competitive play. You can get involved with the ESL. You can play on some of the lower divisions. This kind of thing, we want to see more teams out there. We want to see, you could be the next Masu. You could be the next Ducky Chan, hopefully with different names. Otherwise that would make things rather confusing. But these are opportunities that are out there for these people who are viewing, for people who are watching, enjoying this moment. As with every single game, new players is what we need in order to ensure the survival of every game, and also competition. Competition is the way forward as far as we're concerned. We want to see this, and Masu trading a little bit of fire from behind the column and then finally getting taken out. So this is fantastic play here, and obviously, as you said, this is just the last few moments. And have you noticed that the tickets have actually gone back to 34 to 30?
Indeed, but at this point it is all semantics, and both teams are really just playing for the fun of it, to make sure it doesn't look like they are getting absolutely destroyed. So they're having a competitive round, I'll definitely give it that, but it won't make any difference to the initial scoring system. Oh. It would be nice if Domination had some way of recording previous stats to actually make sure that when a team had actually won, it would say so, but then maybe that's something we'll get in the future.
Yeah, the thing is obviously not only this is a test cup, not only for the players, but for the commentators, for the league admins, and also for the developers, so they can see how the game mode actually handles in competitive style. Obviously take feedback from those players as to aspects of the game that they're not so keen on, aspects that they feel don't necessarily work. So everything here that is being done is essentially to the benefit of Battlefield 4 for the future, and for future competitions, and we're looking forward to seeing what those future competitions will be and the outcome of those competitions. We've got a very good future ahead of us, I would say.
As long as Battlefield has got a competitive... Even when BF had no support, it still had quite a significant competitive scene, and now that there is the support from BSL and others, DreamHack announced a tournament today, you are going to see significantly good players and, more importantly, great matches coming your way soon.
Definitely. And the final tickets just about to tick over as they all getting into a mass punch up in the centre. Russia down to 1 ticket, and they're just doing it for 1 ticket. There's one ticket remaining. And
so
there
you go, MYM are your first ESL Test Cup champions.
So congratulations to MYM, Meet Your Makers. You have indeed met your maker, and they have triumphed in this first competitive game of Battlefield 4. Thank you very much to, of course, Dignitas for a fantastic game and transition through the competition. Thank you to all of the people who have been involved with this competition, and thank you to you, the watchers, the viewers, for tuning in, and we hope you have enjoyed what you've seen. We'll see you again very soon, no doubt. And do you have any parting comments to make to Mr.Dogbert?
I would like to thank everyone that tuned in to watch us play. Obviously, this is really my first time jumping into casting. Obviously, this is a scene that I am very passionate about, I've been involved in for close to 8 years now. I'm hoping that we can hopefully build a really good and exciting and vibrant competitive scene. Indeed we do.
Indeed we do. And we hope you will be there to join us for that. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Thank you to the ESL, thank you, and we shall move on, and we shall be bringing you more Battlefield 4 in the very near future. Thanks for watching. I have been Chadman, you have also been listening to Dogbert, and that is us for tonight. Take care.
Goodbye, guys.